Hey everybody! In today's tutorial, I am going to do a technique I learned from my friend Karen Denbrook, who is amazing. I'm starting with a little bit of Yupo and this awesome stencil that I love. And you do want to work on Yupo or Duralar. I love them both. They both come in translucent and white, and they are great for alcohol inks, which I have here. I have that Adirondack alcohol inks and also the blending solution. You don't want to leave the caps off for too long because alcohol is a solvent, so it does evaporate. And then I have this little brayer that I'm going to roll out some of the color on. And you'll see how it turns it sort of pastel, which is really fun. And kind of mixes on the page. You'll want to roll your brayer off on a piece of paper. So I'm just using some of my MISTI grid paper to do that with. But now I have an overall design that I can start adding a little bit of texture to. So I'm going to take that out of that puddle just a little bit and put my stencil on top of it. And then I will use cotton balls with the blending solution. You can also do this with rubbing alcohol. And I will just lift some of the color out of this little textured background just for a little more interest. You don't have to do this technique, but I like the way it looks. I think it looks kind of cellular and fun, sort of like when you get an acrylic pour that works. So this is just the beginning. This is something that you're basically going to use as an ink pad for this technique today. The first thing you'll want to do is set this up in your incredibly dirty MISTI. My apologies. You'll also notice that my alcohol ink isn't quite dry because waiting isn't really my thing. I would encourage you to let yours dry before doing this. I think you will get crisper results, but as Thomas Edison said, sometimes you just got to find out the ways that things don't work. So I'm just being Edison. Now I have this beautiful Altenew flower. This is a layering image, but I am just using the middle image. And I will position that on the print. Great thing about clear stamps is you can center them over what you want to pick up on the image. And then I'm going to take some alcohol lift ink and ink this stamp up. Now you saw me get another piece of cardstock. You'll want to have that nearby. Since alcohol ink dries so fast, you will want to work fairly quickly. No need to freak out. But I just put the cardstock down on top of the alcohol ink print and then transfer what I picked up with the alcohol ink onto the cardstock. Now this one was a little bit too pale, so I didn't work fast enough. And also maybe I didn't have dark enough colors. So we can try that again. So I'm just going to go back to this print. This is one of the great things about working with alcohol ink and these non-porous surfaces is I can just go right on top of that print and I can add some more ink and then I can lift that up and transfer it. So we've learned that pastel colors don't work all that great. So let's be bright, like I like to be anyway. Now I will let this dry just a little bit, and then we will come back to it and we'll lift it. Now my print is dry, so I have it set up in my MISTI, and I am ready to lift some of that beautiful color off of there. And I have a cat coming in to try to participate in this recording. Please stand by for any impending disaster or crashing of things falling onto the floor. Carry on. Now I will make sure I press it down really well just to make sure that that alcohol lift ink makes good contact with all of those beautiful colors. And then I will insert the cardstock and transfer that alcohol onto my cardstock. Now that is what I was looking for. That's exactly the look that I wanted. That's what Karen taught me how to do. So you have a couple of other options after you transfer your main image. Since, as I said, this is an Altenew layering image, you can actually take those layering stamps using different colors of alcohol inks to transfer the additional layers onto your flower. But I have more that I can work with here. I can lift more out of this print, which is what I intend to do, or I can do different colored prints to fill in areas like the center of the flower, which I will also do. So now I will do yellow again. Really, I don't do much without yellow, if I'm being honest. And then a little bit of a nice springy green, because this set does have leaves and I do want to be able to make the leaves a different color. And because leaves aren't just one color of green, I'm adding 2 colors of green here. And the green and the yellow will play really nicely together to let me pick up a print. And just because I can, why not add a little bit of stream? Because leaves also have a little bit of blue in them. And I'm a free American. I can do whatever I want. There's thunder and a cat now. In case you ever wondered how exciting it was to be a card maker, I've got all sorts of variables. I'm covered with the ink. Stand by for ink drying. Now that it's dry, and I've resisted the urge to stick gilding flakes all over the wet part, which is really hard for me to resist doing, I will put this in my MISTI. I already have the leaf set up. And again, I've just chosen one of the layering images. You can do whatever you want with the layering images. But I like this one. I like these silhouette images because they let me capture these little pieces. Like I love that little bit of teal there that I can get in that leaf. And you can see through it, so you can put it wherever you want. So if you just wanted to spend a day doing, tons of alcohol ink prints, you'd have a ton to choose from. Again, with the alcohol lift ink, I will grab a piece of paper so that I'm ready and make sure that I've inked this up well. I did buy a re-inker with my alcohol lift ink pad. I got mine at Simon Says Stamp, so I just threw a re-inker in the cart at the same time. And I'm glad I did, just because, again, this is a medium that dries really fast. And I wanted to make sure that I could play with it for a long time. So here's what these two look like together, and they're very harmonious. I've used some of the same colors, and I can die cut these and put them together on a background. But one thing I did want to do was give a little center to that flower. So this is what I'm going to do. After thinking it out poorly the first time, what I figured out I needed to do was put the flower with the open center back into my MISTI, set the flower center stamp from the same set up on top of the image. It's very small. And see me thinking it through badly here? I'm like, oh, I'll just pick that up. Well, that doesn't make any darn sense. How does that make sense? That is a stupid idea. But I'm going to go ahead and let it play out for you because I have a lot of stupid ideas. We all do. What matters is that we recover from them and we do things that make sense. See, now I'm all like, hey, I'll put this in here. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. I can't die cut that little thing. That's stupid. That's dumb. I'm just going to put it in the middle of the flower like I should have in the beginning. I'm here for you people. I make mistakes so that you don't have to. So here comes the smarter part of me. And by the way, I'm using a blue shop towel. I love these. I go to Home Depot and I get the big boxes of them, thanks to my friend Yora, who taught me that those were a thing. They're great paper towels. They're great. Oh, here's where my brain comes back. See this? Now I understand. So I set the stamp up first, and then I can move the alcohol print to get exactly the color that I want. Hey, that only took me like 15 minutes to figure out. My hair is super pretty today. So just flop your magnet on there, get it where you want it. And you can use this print over and over and over again. I mean, you can see there's still a ton of ink left on there. But now that my wits are about me, I'll go ahead and stick the flower back in there and then transfer this fun, grungy, textured, interesting center into the center of the flower. So that's my video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching.